But I mean, the bottom line is the government is just bathing in our tax money that they have invested.
In 2008, they set up a sting operation. They knew the bubble was going to burst. And on derivative contracts, you can jump in there for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days. And once you buy and sell, or sell and buy, whichever direction you're going in, and you close out your trade, you're out of the picture, and you walk with the cash if you made a profit. Well, being as this bubble was building on the housing market, government, and their especially managed accounts, I mean the large managed accounts, both domestic and international, government outsourced in the 80s, and they have management funds and Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, Millennium Fund 1, Millennium Fund 2, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in each one of these accounts. And what they did was they position played and went heavily short all the stock indexes, both domestic and internationally, heavily long the dollar. They went long the dollar. They went heavily long the U.S. bonds, and they went heavily short the crude oil. Now, in the last 2-3 months of 2008, after these position plays were replaced, all of a sudden they start dumping their physical holdings in stocks, driving the market down. They heavily sold that crude oil more and more and more. Crude oil collapsed from $145 a barrel down to, at the bottom peak, $28 a barrel in the low trade. Okay, the stock index falls apart. The dollar jumped. Everyone's saying, "Oh, the dollar's going down through the floor." Yeah. I find that humorous. It went from 71 on the dollar index up to 89, which was in a month and a half, which was its quickest spike and run in the history of the dollar index on the upside. That was due to the factor as government had positioned on these positions. They wanted to perpetuate the collapse, so they started selling their physical holdings, which meant the pension funds took a loss and everything else took a loss all across the country as they dumped on the market. But this perpetuated the collapse, and thus that guaranteed them a massive profit on their derivatives play.
And let me stop you.
Their cronies in the syndicated media now come out, "Oh, my God, this is terrible. Everyone's lost their money. Empire's destroyed. Oh." Well, they forget to mention that on a derivative trade, for every dollar lost in one account, a dollar is credited to another account. And here you had, trillions, probably about 20 to 25 trillion, maybe as high as 30 trillion worldwide that changed hands through this collapse in the derivative market. Yeah, but who took the other side of the trade?
All right, Walter, let me stop you.
On my front page,
Walter,
you'll see a red, this is very important, a red Staples button. And it says, tap for downloads. Click on that button. It goes to my download directory, for example, CAFRs. But when you go down to Utah, you'll see right above it, U.S. Treasury. Click on that, and then you'll see March derivative report for 2008 for the banks. Click on that. It's a PDF file. It's put out by the Comptroller of Currencies, and it shows the top 30 banks and their derivative holdings. Now, it notes on page 1, second paragraph, that 5 commercial banks controlled 97% of all derivative activity from all banks. Then scroll down about 2/3 through the report, and you'll get down to Table 1. On Table 1, you'll see J.P. Morgan Chase was king. They had a net worth of $1.4 trillion. When you look at their nominal derivative value, the value of these contracts they're trading, $90 trillion. Now, that $90 trillion was not J.P. Morgan Chase's money.
We got a break.
It was for their clients.
All right, we got to fade him down. He can't hear me. All right, we're going to go to break. We've got a break here, Walter, and then we're going to come back and let you continue with this. But then I want to put it back in layman's terms, how this global takeover has been designed and where it's going if we don't stop them. We'll be right back.
Way up.
All right, Walter Burian is our guest. You don't have to believe Walter Burian, though he's a great guy, incredible. Go look up the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for your school district, you name it. Now, since he's been exposing it, since about 2000, they have made the public versions that are easy to get a little thinner. But he'll tell you how to ferret them out. I was asking the question of Walter, from his research, it looks like this derivatives bubble they created, well, we have the Timberwolf documents and others from Goldman Sachs where they admit it was engineered. We know it was engineered, but that it was also designed to take over many of the states, counties, and cities. And Walter, during the break, was agreeing with me. He said some states were involved, but overall, it's the federal government and big mega banks consolidated together, vertically integrating the entire economy. Walter, on the course we're on, they're now setting up their mega police state to enforce this robbery. What will things look like in the next year to 2 years if we don't somehow start reversing this?
Well, they're creating a new world order structure, as we all know, and the actual new world order is being orchestrated from the United States, being that there's an expression, he who owns the cookie jar makes the rules. When you look at the collective government investments with the banks, with the brokerage houses, with the insurance, they actually own the banks and brokerage houses and insurance companies by investment. They're the primary investor. They own the major Fortune 500 companies by collective investment. Okay, so the whole structure here is to maintain this entertainment game for the population as they consolidate ownership. I go back to when I mentioned on the red staples button on my front page and going to my download directory and hitting U.S. Treasury and getting the March derivative report for the banks. J.P. Morgan Chase was holding $90 trillion worth of nominal value in derivatives. Now, that was not primarily J.P. Morgan Chase's money. They were acting as clearing agent for their major clients. Who were their major clients? Cities, counties, states, federal government. Okay? And when you talk 90 trillion, as I mentioned in 2000, the entire world derivative market was 80 trillion. And here in 2008 is J.P. Morgan Chase holding $90 trillion in nominal value of derivatives. Okay? And that's just one account. Now, if you want one thing that will shake the earth and cause the stars to fall from the sky, metaphorically, if the public ever got the cognitive thought, keep in mind, like I said, a vacuum and a void was created in the entire population's comprehension to the basics. But if you look at government pension funds, which they've taken over the marketplace based on their collective ownership, I put one up at the top of my webpage, CalSTRS, which is for the California Teachers Retirement Fund, about $130 billion. And it's one of the best funds in the country, consistency, performance, and so forth. You can click on that link, and it'll show a pie chart where you can click on the different segments of the pie chart, and it'll show their holdings, both domestic and international. Real estate projects, domestic, international. Cash loaned out to other companies, domestic and international. When you get down to the list, you'll say, oh, my God, look, they own it all. Look how much they own. That's just one account.
And that's why it's New World Order.
Thousands of these different accounts, big and small.
Well, that's why it's New World Order, it's the merger of the mega banks with all the governments of the world as one big monolithic corporate Borg that go and so that's why in Texas they've now announced, this is a Houston Chronicle, $1,500+ fines with license plate reading toll roads. They don't even tell you it's a toll road. And then there's no judge, no jury, and now they take your house for a $300 unpaid water bill. They take your house for a $1,000 unpaid. I mean, and they're just coming. They're going to steal everything and turn everything into prisons, and they're not going to stop. I mean,
it's easy opportunity. And one question I've asked people, every person I talk to, I say, would you give your 14, 15-year-old son carte blanche to write his own allowance check? And everyone says, no way, I would never do that. I said, well, that's exactly what we've done with our government, local, city, county, state, school district. They've been laughing all the way down to the bank every single day, playing a shell game, entertaining the population with distraction and misdirection.
Lindsay Lohan.
And the public doesn't even ask the basic questions of, or forget asking the basic questions. The Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or Annual Financial Report for Government, shows the collective totals over years, decades, and also shows the budget. So when you look at a budget report, you're just seeing the budget for the year, and a selectively created one at that. When you look at the annual financial report, you're seeing the decades of cumulative wealth, specialty investment funds, enterprise operations, the gross income. Now, I started a national disclosure in June of '98 of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And the GASB, initially the report was created by GOFA, government, GAFA.
Got to break again. Long segment coming up, Walter Berian. Stay there. We're going to come back and cover this right now. And again, put it in layman's terms again. It's a giant, crooked, swindling operation designed as a financial black hole where you cannot ever pay it back. Things are going according to plan.